we're going to be talking about our Slack integration. And I'm excited about this one because it's, if you're not familiar with Slack, I suggest you get really familiar with it because it's just a really good, useful tool. It's a free tool, and there's really no reason why you shouldn't be using it for your business. Let's see. All right. So Barry says hi. I see that guy every day, kind of boring. Dan has always got tabs on everybody. So what's up, Dan? All right. So just kind of a little bit backstory on what Slack is. It's just a messaging platform, right? And so what most businesses have used it for is to be able to replace all of your internal staff communications. I'll give you a quick overview of what it looks like. And you can create your own Slack account. And the free version is plenty fine for most businesses until you're having to integrate a lot of different things into Slack or anything like that, where you might need to upgrade to some of their more advanced or full-featured accounts. But I'll show you what I have here and just kind of give you a scope on how much I use it on a daily basis. I've got one for every organization or every business I'm a part of, right? So at the very least, I have one for Push Press, I have one for my gym, Lincoln Park CrossFit, and then I have one for my pretend gym that we'll kind of demo on today. And so here, you're able to create a bunch of different channels, and what that allows you to do is it allows you and your staff to be able to kind of hone in on what each conversation is about, right? So rather than, emailing back and forth, having one mass email and to all your entire staff, and then having to just kind of sift through, what each conversation is about. In Slack, what you can do is create different channels. And so I'll show you what kind of in a live setting for Lincoln Park, what we have. We have channels for events. We have channels for, we do gym launch, marketing, right? And so what we'll have are specific conversations regarding marketing here or merchandise. If there's any on-ramps. So you can kind of see just how it's utilized on a day-to-day basis. And what it allows you to do is allows your staff to stay focused on that specific topic. And if they want to jump topics, they just move to a different thread. So as far as how we use it in Push Press, I'll show you that on my other screen here. Okay. And just kind of preface this, the Slack integration is only available for those of you guys who are using Pro accounts. If you don't know if you have free or Pro, you can just go into settings and you'll be able to tell which version of Push Press you have. The guys are kind of cringing right now because I'm calling attention to our Pro subscription for Push Press and then also our free. Free is still in beta, so if there's a bunch of questions on that, route it to us in the chat. We'll help answer kind of any questions you have, but that discussion is for later. All right, so that's still top secret stuff. But those of you guys who have early access to our free Push Press, you won't have access to be able to flip on the Slack integration. But for everyone else, I encourage you guys to do that. So in terms of just connecting the system together, right? You can go to apps, and we'll just go through some of the basic setup and how you can configure your different channels and settings. And then we can go over how to utilize it with Push Press, and then a few other things that, a few other ways that I like to use it with my staff, and then also again with Push Press, we do 95% of our communications internally through Slack. Okay, so first off, what you need to make sure you do is sign up for a Slack account. You can just go to slack.com, I believe. Let me see what that is. Slack.com and just create an account, right? And you'll create that for your organization. And then once you do that, you can go back into your Push Press system and we'll go to App Store. And just like with every other configuration or every other integration, we'll have that here in the App Store, and we'll configure this, all right? And so let me back this out so show you guys what it looks like when it's not configured. Okay, so what we'll do first is just enable this. And all the information in the setup process that I'll go over today, we also have it in the help documentation. So if you're kind of the person who likes to read step by step on how to set this integration up, I'll shoot you that link afterward in the recording of this as we post it on our blog. But we'll go over step by step here so you can follow along as well. So a couple things you need. you'll need this webhook, and you can generate this from Slack, right? So what you'll do is you open up your Slack web version, right? This won't work on the downloaded app version, but you'll have to go onto the web version here, and we can go under administration and manage apps. And all you'll do is you'll search for webhooks, and we want the incoming webhooks. Let's see, webhook. Might help if I spell that correctly. All right, so this is gonna look a little bit different because I've already connected this, but you'll get to this configuration page here and the integration settings. And so the couple of things that you want to set up here. One is you'll just generate this webhook URL. And so once you generate that webhook, you can go ahead and grab this, copy it over into PushPress, and then paste it into this field here, okay? So that's one half of this configuration here. The second step is what channel you want to route all of your non-specific notifications to, right? So what I've created is this general notification channel, and I've titled it general, okay? And I'm also going to add that and specify that here. So these are all of my different channels that I've ever created in Slack, but I'll just route everything to general first, okay? And hit save. And so again, what that does, it just locks in that webhook URL. And now we can start configure settings here, okay? So we've enabled notifications to go to general, okay? But the cool thing is, and one of the big pros for our Slack integration is it'll push real-time notifications of different events that happen, whether it's gonna be a check-in, a new member, a new lead, a failed billing. All of that we can push to specific channels in Slack. So that way you can stay on top of, if someone, you know, at the end of the day, what I like to do is look through my payments tab, my payments channel, and then kind of view how many people or, you know, what transactions have we processed for the day, just kind of eyeball it. And what I'm really looking for are any failed transactions or failed check-ins. You know, those are red flags that I can alert my staff to pay attention to, or maybe call over this member and kind of figure out what the underlying issue is. So let's kind of dive into how to set those notifications and make sure they go to the correct channels, okay? So I've already enabled a few of these here, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create different channels first on the Slack side, and so that way I can pull it into the PushPress side, okay? So let's say for check-in notifications, I wanna create a check-in Slack channel, which I already have here, okay? And so what I can do is enable this here and hit check-ins. If I hit save, now every check-in that gets registered through the system, successful or failed, will get pushed to this channel, right? Let's go ahead and just create the rest of these here, and then we'll kind of go through just real life demo and explanation of how and what notifications are actually going to push through. Okay, so let's see, we did one for registration. So this one would push through notification for every time a member registers or reserves for a class. Payment notifications. So this one I like too, because again, it just kind of brings to life any failed or successful transactions for that day in real time. So I'll enable this here. I don't believe I have one created, so it's a good example here. I'll create a payments channel in Slack. I'll skip this for now. And then I'll make sure to title this the same. So this is what we're doing here, specifying what channel that we created in Slack, what channel we want these specific notifications to go to, okay? So if I hit save now, you'll hear an alert, and good. So you can see that this integration works, that the correct notification is getting pushed to the right channel. So I'll do that for member notifications, and then I'll do that for leads as well. So member notifications, I'll just go ahead and name this member. All right, let's create another one for members. Oops. Skip that, and I already have one for leads. Perfect. Okay, and again, you can name this any way you want to, just as long as it makes sense for your operations. But what we want to just understand too is just what each of these are actually pushing to Slack, okay? And we have a help documentation that provides a full synopsis of what each trigger is and what each notification would show. Cool. So every time you successfully connect a channel, you'll get a notification here. So if you see this message that something kind of automatically pops up, then you know both systems are integrated. And now it's just, now you can kind of stay on top of it, okay? So we're gonna do is kind of push through some test data, some test notifications, and then also we'll go over different ways that our system can use, or our team can use this system, okay? So an easy one is a new lead comes in, okay? So let's say you have a lead capture page. Let's go back into our lead capture page here. So this is probably the first thing I would use Slack for, right? So you have a lead capture page on your website. And let's go and fill this out. Test notification. I'm terrible at fake names. All right. So let's go and fill in some dummy data here. Put in a phone number. All right, so this looks good. Okay, so I don't know if you heard that, but as soon as I clicked on submit, we got this lead notification. So I don't know if you could time that, but it was less than a quarter of a second. I don't know if that's a real measurement of time that you can tell, but you can see how fast that was. So now anyone on my staff can go in and maybe shoot this person a text or shoot them an email, let them know, hey, we got your lead notification, or not lead notification, but we got your interest. You know, can we get you in tonight? You know, so again, you can see how fast this makes a system, and it allows your team to move at a faster pace. Okay. So I really love it for just lead management, because now I don't have to wait for, not that email is any slower, but it causes you have to open up a whole separate app and then kind of go through the steps of filtering through different emails. This way, it's front and center. You can manage all of your leads through here. And you can kind of see what I've done earlier. If I make any changes to this lead, let me get back to my lead list here. Let's say then I assign this to a specific staff member. Okay. I'll assign it to Barry. Barry's pretty solid with leads. Submit that. And voila. I've assigned this to Barry. And again, he can get notification here. He has access to this channel. So again, you can kind of start to piece together how this all kind of moves and makes sense. Now let's walk through maybe like a failed check-in. Okay, so that's also a good red flag. And you know, if you're not going through your system and checking your check-ins through, you know, schedule, let's see, check-ins here, there's really no way you can kind of get any alerts on who's failed to check-in. And that's pretty important stuff, because as soon as someone fails to check-in, it's for some reason. Maybe their plan doesn't allow for it. Maybe their billing failed, right? And if you wait till the end of the day to just kind of reconcile all of your failed check-ins and then follow up, it might be maybe too late. You know, you could have been more efficient, maybe catch the member as they failed to check-in and then correct the issue on the spot. So let's go ahead and fail this check-in here. Go back to my dashboard. All right, so I know Tim Cook has a specific plan that won't allow him to check into Bootcamp. So I'm gonna go ahead and check him in, right? And this would be kind of the same workflow if he tried to check in through the check-in app. But you can see it failed here. And let's see, it didn't push this on here. Oh, it did, perfect. Just didn't hear the alert. But you can see he has a failed check-in. So again, you can see how this kind of just brings to light specific notifications that you or your staff members can take action on quickly, right? let's see. Another good example is when someone signs up for a membership. Okay, so what we're doing there is sending a notification anytime someone's status on the profile changes from whether it's a non-member, a lead, ex-member, to a member status. Okay, so a good example is I like to go for my leads list, and maybe we've converted one of these guys. Okay, so let's say Mitch. Let's go to his lead profile, and let's add a plan to his profile. So we did a good job in terms of nurturing him as a lead. He's bought in, he wants to get into the gym, get a full membership with us. And so what we can do is assign his plan. He wants to build a credit card. All right, put it in here. And we'll add that plan. All right, so we heard that alert, right? And so a couple things happened here. One, we can see we got a successful payment, okay? So for me, every time I see this, it lights up my day. That just means that another person loves our service enough to hand over money. And that's really what we're about. We wanna make sure that we're providing a service and we meet our members and clients at their level of value, right? So in this case, Mitch, he's bought in. And that's what each one of these represents, at least for me. And let's see, it didn't push through, might have messed up some of that, but typically what you'd see is an alert on this members channel alerting you that someone has been converted from a lead to a member. And again, it's just a way to celebrate it. So in that way, if your coach gets Slack notifications pushed to their phone, as soon as this member kind of checks in for the next time, they're able to see, oh, hey, you know, Mitch is a brand new member, and then roll out the red carpet for these guys. You know, make it an event, make it something that they remember, their first class, right? And a lot of those small little things just kind of aid in creating this atmosphere of like kind of surprise and delight. Most members wouldn't expect every coach to know that someone just signed up for a membership or someone's brand new, or someone's birthday, those kinds of things. So the more that we can surface those small little things and just kind of snowballing this into a culture that allows your members to just constantly be surprised and kind of delighted on that front, it adds more value to their experience. And so any way that we can get that information to your staff's hands to be able to leverage this and create that experience, I encourage you guys to use it, and I think Slack is one of those tools. So again, you can see how different actions in PushPress get pushed into different Slack channels, and then how your staff can use it. There's a lot of different ways that Slack can be used as well, aside from just notifications from PushPress to Slack. And I encourage you guys to kind of just get creative with it and explore it for your own business needs and ways that you can leverage it. So, for PushPress, we have a ton of different integrations going to Slack because we're all on this, our entire team is pretty much remote, and it allows us to pull in different notifications, different alerts, all in the same screen, right? So then everything gets kind of funneled and is organized in the right way. And it allows notifications to kind of come forward easier. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can go about using that. Zapier is a good integration that you can use, and you can pull in data from a lot of different systems. Some of you guys that might be using UpLaunch, I have some alerts that gets pushed from UpLaunch into Slack for my gym. So again, there's a ton of different ways. Just get creative and don't be afraid to experiment. Something that really helps is just understanding how all this works and plays together. Because then again, it's not so much using as much technology as possible, but it's leveraging the right technology, and you can't leverage it if you don't understand it. So I encourage you guys to definitely, enable Slack, start pushing those notifications, get a good understanding of the workflow and how this can just replace internal communication, emails, text messages, too many things get lost that way. And it's really easy to kind of alienate or forget you've messaged someone. This way you're able to keep your conversations focused on specific topics. Your staff can always go back and reference, historical information. So if you guys have any other ways that you guys have used it, definitely throw it into the comments in our Facebook group on this video. I know we've just kind of touched on different ways that you can use it in terms of just push press to Slack, but in terms of just managing your own business and how you handle it with your own staff members, if you have any good ideas, feel free to share. I'd love to be able to kind of put this together, maybe in our blog post for this replay, to be able to